So I'm in the middle of 3 books. Word Hunter by Stella Sands. And I'm listening to this on audio right now, and I am probably around halfway done. And this follows a girl who's in grad school who studies forensic linguistics, so she is helping the police solve some cases that are happening based off of her ability to analyze notes and words and whatnot. And I was super excited to read this, and it's okay so far. Listening to the audio is frustrating me a little bit because our main character, Maggie, diagrams sentences. And so I'll be listening to the story, and then there will be a sentence and then she starts diagramming it. So in my ear, adverbial, prepositional phrase, adverb, direct object. And she goes through each individual word and phrase in the sentence. And that has been kind of annoying. I wish they would just say she diagrammed the sentence in her head. I don't know. That is something that's just frustrating me. And this is all of the notes that she is analyzing are all super it's gross. I don't know. So I'm enjoying it. It's entertaining. Is the writing great? No, but I'm entertained. Second is Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. This is my book club pick for February, and I'm struggling a little bit with this. I'm on page, I have a gum wrapper as my bookmark, 29. So I'm only 29 pages in, and I'm struggling to get into it. And my interpretation so far is that this is like a cozy book. I don't know if that will continue, if that will change. Again, I'm only 30 pages in, but I'm lacking everything. I guess, I don't know. I'm just really struggling to get into this, and I've heard such great things, so I have set it down, and I'm trying to read the other book that I'm in the middle of, these other 2 books, and then I think I'm going to pick this back up and go back, because right now it's just not what I'm in the mood for, maybe. So I'm trying to come back to this and not force myself to read it right now, because I don't want to force myself to read it right now and then not like it because I'm forcing myself to read it. Third is Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. I am about 200 pages into this, a little over halfway. I think I'm 60% through. And I love Frederick Bachman. And I'm enjoying this, but I'm not loving it so far. I don't know what I thought this was going to be going into it. I think, I don't know. There's a lot of things I'm underlining. I like the quotes. I like the writing. I'm not enjoying the humor. I don't know. I think I was in the mood for, and I was also expecting a super deep emotional read. And while I think that I've heard that it is, so I'm trying to keep working my way through this because, again, I'm not to the end. I'm 60% done. But I'm not loving the humor and the sarcasm. I don't know. For some reason, I'm not loving it. I feel like I will start enjoying it more, and then we'll have sarcasm from the characters, or we'll be in the middle of something important, and then something absurd will happen to where I'm just like, what are we doing? I don't know. And maybe that's me. I am enjoying it. Again, I'm enjoying it. I enjoy Frederick Bachman, but I think I'm comparing this to Beartown, and it's not Beartown. So I had super duper high expectations, and they're just not being met with this right now. Again, I'm only 60% through. So I'm going to be working my way through these books in this video. And so I'm taking you guys with me through the next few days of my reading. I try and finish this today, and then I may even finish listening to Word Hunter, and then we'll go from there. I don't know if I'm going to end up picking this up again next. So, it's the next day, and I didn't read nearly as much as I wanted to yesterday. I think I read 30 pages of Anxious People, so I'm still chugging my way through that. I'm going to try and finish it tonight after I get home. I don't really have much of an update. I listened to a chapter of Word Hunter yesterday, and then I also read about 30 pages of Anxious People, and that is about it. I'm gonna try and read more today. On another note, I know I said I'm trying not to expand my physical TBR. However, at work, there's a little free library that everyone contributes to, and I was checking it out today because I went into the staff room to try to find a fork because I forgot my fork, and I picked up Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I couldn't help it. It was there, and the movie's coming out. I'm probably not going to be going to see the movie. I'm going to be so for real. I'm not going to go watch the movie. I don't want to see it, but I want to read the book, and I have not read a classic ever. This is a little bit daunting because I was reading, what is this called? They have the introduction. That's what it is. They have a little introduction explaining some things before you get into the story, and it's making me nervous. I feel like I'm going to be confused reading this. I'm intimidated, but I am determined to read more classics this year. And also, I just think this is so pretty. Love it. So I did finish Anxious People last night, and I wanted some time to settle on my thoughts before I talked about it. And I think I'm between a 3.5 and a 4 star, which I thought this was going to be a 5-star read for me. And like I said earlier, I think the main reason that I didn't rate it higher was because of how sarcastic and funny it was. And I know that that was the intention. I understand that that was the intention. It just didn't work for me personally. I know that the topics in here were heavy, and to counteract that, there was humor. I just didn't like it. I think it got better for me in the second half, but in the first half, I was like, this isn't necessarily working for me. The characters, I was reading reviews of this book, and someone's review kind of aligned with what I was thinking, and it was that the characters are idiots, and it says that multiple times in the book, that the people in here are idiots, we always call everyone an idiot, etc. I understand that, but I didn't like them, if that makes sense. I liked Zara, I liked Jim, Estelle was okay, everyone else I just didn't connect with them, I didn't like them very much. So then when they would do something idiotic, I was like, I am just frustrated with you. So, however, the writing in here was still beautiful writing. I have so many quotes. I'm going to read some of my favorites, but the character part and the humor part, I was just like, I don't know, my rating might go up. I keep looking back through here. I have my tabs, you can't really see them, and I'm rereading the quotes. Oh, maybe I should rate it higher. So it might go up, but I just want to read some quotes. So this is what I was talking about when he says it's a story about idiots and we're idiots. It's always very easy to declare that other people are idiots, but only if you forget how idiotically difficult being human is, especially if you have other people you're trying to be a reasonably good human being for. Sometimes it really hurts for no other reason than the fact that our skin doesn't feel like it's ours. I don't want to read that one. It just hurts so much at times being human, not understanding yourself, not liking the body you're stuck in, seeing your eyes in the mirror and wondering whose they are, always with the same question, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel like this? And this one, we're hearing from Zara, and she owns a bank. She runs a bank. And this is what she says. It means that the poor get poorer and the rich get richer, and the real class divide is between those who can borrow money and those who can't. Because no matter how much money anyone earns, they still lie awake at night at the end of the month worrying about money. Everyone looks at what their neighbors have and wonders, how can they afford that? Because everyone is living beyond their means. So not even really rich people ever feel really rich, because in the end, the only thing you can buy is a more expensive version of something you've already got, with borrowed money. Then Zara, this is still Zara, she's going on to say, people like you and me are the problem, don't you get that? We always defend ourselves by saying we're only offering a service, that we're just one tiny part of the market, that everything is people's own fault, that they're greedy, that they shouldn't give us their money, and then we have the nerve to wonder why stock markets crash and the city is full of rats. No one can go to 2,000 apartment viewings and not realize that there's more love in the world than the opposite. What do you base that on? all the apartments that aren't for sale. This is Zara again. But she also felt like telling him that the economic system she had devoted her life to working in is the world's biggest problem right now, because we made the system too strong. We forgot how greedy we are, but above all, we forgot how weak we are, and now it's crushing us. She felt like saying all this, but by this point in her life, she had gotten used to the fact that people either didn't understand or didn't want to understand. Oh my goodness. Whoa! This one is referencing a character named Estelle, and she's an older woman. And it says, if you've lived with teenagers, they only exist for themselves, and their parents have their hands full dealing with the various horrors of life, both the teenagers and their own. There was no place for Estelle there. She was mostly something of a nuisance. They were pleased when she answered the phone when they called on her birthday, but the rest of the time they assumed time stood still for her. She was a nice ornament that they only took out at Christmas and midsummer. Oh my goodness. Hello? That's so heartbreaking. Hello? Oh my goodness. This one's really good too. Oh my goodness. Unfortunately, I think most people would still get more sympathy from their colleagues and bosses at work if they show up looking rough one morning and say, I'm hungover, than if they say, I'm suffering from anxiety. But I think we pass people in the street every day who feel the same as you and I. Many of them just don't know what it is. Men and women going around for months having trouble breathing and seeing doctor after doctor because they think there's something wrong with their lungs. All because it's so difficult to admit that something else is broken. That it's an ache in our soul, invisible lead weights in our blood, an indescribable pressure in our chest. Our brains are lying to us, telling us we're going to die, but there's nothing wrong with our lungs. We're not going to die, you and I. So true. We have all of this in common, yet most of us remain strangers. We never know what we do to each other, how your life is affected by mine. So maybe my rating's higher now. I keep just the quotes, the writing was so good, it was just some of the characters didn't work for me. If you notice, all the quotes that I was reading came from the same, I believe it was just the same two characters or the narrator. And we had 8 people in the story plus 2 police officers, so 10 or 11 characters. And out of those 10 or 11, I enjoyed reading about 2 of them. I don't know, I'm so conflicted. I think it might be a 4. Because the writing still was so beautiful. It was just the characters that weren't working and the humor wasn't necessarily working. But I feel like we got more serious in the, like I said, in the second half. The first half was a lot of just silly things happening. And there were still silly things happening. No, it wasn't even, there were just absurd things happening in the first half of the book. And humor. And I could deal with a little bit of the humor. I could deal with that. I enjoyed that. Because you're covering such intense topics that you almost need to have humor to offset it. I get that. And then in the second half, all the absurd things that were happening in the first half, we weren't having absurd things happen in the second half. It was just, there was the humor to counteract the heaviness of the topics discussed. So I worked better with the second half than the first half. I don't know if that makes sense. So the absurdity of the events happening, that is what was not working for me. The humor I could deal with because I think it was needed for the topics in the book that were discussed. But I think that's my final review. Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. 4 stars. It's much later now, and I wanted to do a little update. I have been listening to Word Hunter by Stella Sands. I think I listened to about an hour of it in the car today, and it's good. I'm enjoying it. I think it's a little bit jumbled. We have everything under the sun happening to our main character, jam-packed into this book that's not very long. She is going to grad school. She's helping the police department solve crimes. She is a TA. She is looking for her best friend who is supposedly part of a cult. She's battling addiction. She's struggling with grief. All of these things are jam-packed into this book. And I think it could work if the writing was better. The writing is not great. And sometimes I just am listening to it and I am cringing a little bit. So it's entertaining. Is the writing good? No, but I'm entertained. So I'll hopefully be finishing that within the next day or 2. Secondly, I went to Half Price Books today. I took some of my books that I unhauled to Half Price Books, and then I got a couple of things. I got, first, The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. I've already read this, and I read it when it was on Kindle Unlimited, and I wanted to own the physical copy, so that's why I picked this up. I think I went into 2 or 3 different Barnes & Noble stores, each time looking specifically for this book, and none of them had it. And they said, oh, we can order it for you and have it brought to the store, but I was just kind of, oh, that's okay. So I picked this up. This was a 5-star for me. I read this last year, so that's why I wanted to get it. And I do want to do a reread of it soon. With all my other million books I have on my TBR, I want to reread this. But this is very good. Second, I picked up David Copperfield by Charles Dickens because I have Demon Copperhead by, I can't recall the author, but I have Demon Copperhead, and I think Demon Copperhead has something to do with David Copperfield, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I want to read this before I read Demon Copperhead, so in case there are any references or anything like that, I understand where those are coming from. This is a classic. It's very thick. I'm a little bit intimidated because I think I said earlier that I have never read a classic before, and this is over 700 pages, so I have my hands full with this. But I don't know why I've been on a classics kick, because like I said, I've never read one before, so I don't know why I'm on a classics kick, but I am, because I now have Wuthering Heights, Pride and Prejudice, David Copperfield, and one more that I also got today on my physical TBR. So that's what I got from Half Price Books. Then I went to a little thrift store and I went and picked up The Jungle Books, another classic. I really like these, the little Barnes & Noble classics with the covers that are like this, because now I have these two, and also Wuthering Heights is the same edition. So I got Jungle Books, and then I also just picked up these, this isn't book related, but these cute little star earring studs. So I got all of those, super excited. Like I said, I finished Anxious People this morning, so I think next I'm gonna skip over Thursday Murder Club for the time being, because I still just can't see myself getting into it. I think that I need to, like I said, binge the beginning part, and I don't have time to do that as of right now, to sit and binge a chunk of that. And so I think it would be better if I read something else. So I'm going to pick up Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I'm on page 4. So I haven't really gotten far into it, but I'm hoping to read some more of this tonight. I'm excited. Again, this is a projected 5-star, and I'm a little disappointed after Anxious People, just because I thought it was going to be a 5-star and it was not. So this has 5-star potential to be my first 5-star of 2026. It is the next evening, the next night, and I just wanted to come on here and give a brief reading update from today. I started Project Hail Mary last night, and I think I read 45 pages, and then I continued reading today, and I'm currently on page 74. Thoughts so far, I don't have too many, except I was under the impression that we would be moving chronologically, starting with the scientist, I can't remember his name right now, Ryder, that's not right, starting with Ryland, with his life on Earth, being a normal person, and then continuing chronologically, but we are going back and forth. We're in space and he's kind of lost his memory, and then as he recovers his memory, we're getting flashbacks to his previous life. So I was not expecting that. I don't mind that that is the case. Secondly, all the sciencey talk is kind of losing me a little bit. He is explaining microbiology and I just don't connect with that. It's kind of weird. He'll explain it in super scientific terms and then he'll break it down, basically. He'll be like, here's all the super scientific part, and then he'll sum it up and be like, so basically that means I have this much fuel left. Or basically that means that the gravity is double what it's supposed to be. So that I appreciate, because they go into the scientific part and then they dumb it down for people like me who have no idea what any of that means. So I'm enjoying this so far. I want to get more into it. Secondly, I finished listening to Word Hunter by Stella Sands today, and I gave it a 2.5 stars because, as I mentioned yesterday or the day before or whenever, it is a jumbled mess, basically. Again, I was entertained, it was entertaining, but the writing was not great. I also think, again, we just jam-packed everything under the sun into this book, and we needed to pick one thing and roll with it. We didn't need all the other things happening. I also just want to take the time, and this is gonna mess up my ankle slightly. I want to read to you what I'm talking about when, see, I listened to this, so it didn't click with me. So when you listen to it, they explain the diagram sentences. So I remember diagramming sentences in the 6th grade and never using it again. But this is what it looks like with a diagram sentence in the book, like the physical book. When you listen to it, it would say that, adverb, you, subject, preposition, me, blah. And that's not accurate. I don't actually know what the parts of the sentence are. But in the physical book, it doesn't read that way. It just shows you the diagram. But listening to it, I will say that was annoying. Yes, so this book is completed, 2.5 stars. And then, I started listening to Assassin's Blade. Originally, I was going to start with Throne of Glass because Throne of Glass was published first and I was going to read them in publishing order. However, a friend convinced me to read Assassin's Blade first. And I'm glad I started with Assassin's Blade because it is a series of novellas, and I feel like, and this is what my friend told me, I feel as if I would have read Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, and then went to Assassin's Blade, I would have been bored and it would have been repetitive. And I'm just glad I'm getting the novella background, prequel, history, whatever all of that is, ahead of time, and then I can just go through the rest of the series without having to go back, read something prequely. I'm glad I started with that. I'm about 21% through Assassin's Blade. I'm enjoying it so far. I will say I was listening to it while I was doing other things, so I wasn't totally immersed in listening to it, so I'm a little bit like, what all exactly is happening? I think I have a pretty good idea. I did have to go back and listen because I didn't at first realize that it was several different novellas, and all of a sudden I was hearing about a different character and I was super duper confused as to where that character came from, so I just start back at the beginning of the second novella. But I'm enjoying it. I don't have too many thoughts, but that's where I am for right now. So I wanted to give you guys a book haul, I guess. I was gifted a ginormous bag of books from one of my friends at church today. So I'm just gonna rapid fire show you what she gave me. One by one, Freedom McFadden. The Ones We Wait For, Not My Baby, The Teacher, Deadly Target, The Coworker, The Turn of the Key, The Wrong Sister, Dear Debbie, Do Not Disturb, Never Lie, The Perfect Son, The Widow, The Intruder, The New Couple, Tell Me What You Did, and The Locked Door. I don't even know how many books that was. I also got a couple more and I had already read those, so I'm gonna re-gift those, pass them along to some other people, or maybe put them in my little free library. But so add those to my 100-something book TBR. Hi guys, I am going to make a little gift for my boyfriend. He loves Spider-Man, so I'm going to make a little pony bee Spider-Man for him. I used to do these all the time when I was younger. We'll do some experimentation. It might be a trial and error process, but while I sit here and make this for him, I'm going to listen to more of Assassin's Blade. I listened to it on my walk earlier, and I also listened to it in the car today, and I'm enjoying it. I'm wanting to pick that up more than Project Hail Mary right now, so I'm just going to continue listening to it while I make this. and I made it really far on the Spider-Man that I was making, and then I had to take it apart because I messed up. So I started it over, and this is the progress that we have so far. This is probably a quarter of the way done. But while I did that, I listened to Assassin's Blade, and I am 66% through that book. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a great time listening to it. I don't really have an opinion or any thoughts. I'm just enjoying my time. Honestly, I do think I need to go back and read the first novella again because I missed some of the introduction parts listening to it the first time. Also, I don't know why we're calling this a series of novellas. I feel like a series of novellas, to me, I was under the impression we were going to get stories from a bunch of different characters, but we're just following the same character, basically chronologically too. We're not going to different points of her life, it's just a whole story. But I'm enjoying my time. I like it. No notes. I'd probably right now, if I had to rate it right now, give it a 4 stars. But like I said, we still have some more to read, so I'm gonna hopefully finish that tomorrow, but I'm enjoying my time. What's up, guys? It's the next evening, and I listened to a lot of Assassin's Blade today. Well, not a lot. I can't remember what percent I was at last night, but right now I am 91% through Assassin's Blade, and I'm going to finish it tonight. I'm going to keep working on my little Spider-Man beaded guy and finish listening to Assassin's Blade. At the moment, maybe this would spoil, I don't know if this is going to spoil, I'm going to talk about my predictions of some things. So if you haven't read it, maybe you don't want to listen because I don't know. I have no idea. But right now, it just doesn't make sense to me. Something's going to go down because Sam has told Selena that he loves her probably 4 times. And each time, she has not said it back to him, which is fine. If you don't mean it, don't say it. But I just find it a little bit weird. And I don't know, she just had Arabin, is that his name? I think it's how you say it. Arabin appeared in their apartment when Sam wasn't there and was like, do you actually trust Sam? I love you. I did all these bad things to you because I love you. Please come, don't leave. So I'm in my brain, maybe Selena is going to betray Sam and end up with Arabin. Because Sam keeps saying, I want to leave, I want to go far away from this town, and she is, for some reason, just digging her heels in and does not want to leave. And I think, I don't know, maybe it's like I don't know why, I don't know. I just have a feeling. And this is the prequel to the series. This is before anything else in the series happens, and she's with Sam. I don't think she's going to be with Sam the whole series, because we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more books. There's no way that her love interest is going to stay the same. I hope that I'm wrong, because I feel like in every series that's that long, it's, oh, we have some betrayal or there's like a love triangle or whatever. So maybe it would be refreshing to see someone be committed to their partner for the entirety of it. But I just have a feeling that that's not going to be the case. And maybe I'm completely wrong, because again, I don't really know what Throne of Glass is even really about. Those are just, I guess, some thoughts. So, time to finish the first book. Woohoo! I am done with Assassin's Blade. I just finished the audiobook and I enjoyed it. I'm interested to see what is going to happen in the rest of the series. My prediction was wrong. There's no way. I'm debating on my rating to give this, because honestly, I just liked getting to know Selena as a character, her as a character. And then towards the end, I feel like I lost getting to know her as a character. Oh, I don't know my rating. It's between a 3.5 and a 4. Maybe I'll just do a 3.75. So, with all of that being said, I'm going to end this reading vlog. I read 3 books in this vlog. I read Anxious People by Frederick Bachman, I read Word Hunter by Stella Sands, and I read Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. I also started Project Hail Mary.